Welcome to MTG News in May. Today we will feature the set schedules, which is mostly the most important part of this. You can skip after that. Then we will look at some articles which came out, which are about the Legends of New Capenna still. Yeah, we were still looking at the designs of that set. And then the design of New Capenna and Kamigawa, and mostly some questions and answers from Wizards of the Coast about more design. So the schedule is that in May, in a few, I think next week, everything will be released for Commander Legends. We will get to that later, the specifics. Then in July, Double Masters. In August, Universe Beyond, Warhammer 40,000 will come out. Then in September, Dominaria United. And in November, the Brothers War. So a lot of sets coming out after each other. I would say, look at this like something that's fun, that there are a lot of new sets coming out, and then don't try to get too invested into any of the stuff. That's what I would say. And of course, us creators will do our best to digest everything and make fun content out of it. And there will be a lot of source, so that's good. First looks at the sets. Commander Legends is one of those. I had to make all the products really small because there are a lot. There are 4 commanders. They have been revealed too, so we will get to that a bit later, I believe. No. But the commanders have been revealed, and I wanted to do the true reveals later anyways. But they will be about party time, white black deck, about the party mechanic with rogues, wizards, warriors and clerics, I think. Mind Flayers Blue Black will be all about milling your opponent, basically. And then of course using that as a resource, so not just the milling. Draconic Descent will be about goading your opponent, and Exit from Exile will make wolf tokens out of stuff that you play from exile, and that will be in red-green. Then there are a lot of products next to the commander sets, which are set boosters. Of course, the normal boosters, we start to know these. We have the bundle, which is with set boosters again. It's not 10 again, it's 8. So yeah, that's a bit weird that they went back to 8 instead of 10, but okay. Then there's the pre-release kit and the collector boosters. So that's that. How this will go is debuts and previews begin on May 17th. Card image gallery will be complete on the 23rd, so that's on a Monday. A bit weird, but I guess you could do the set reviews on Sunday, but that's almost impossible to make the set review good. So I would suggest watching them the weekend later, and then just only then hyping yourself up for it. Commander previews will be in the middle of the week, and they will be complete on Thursday. And then the game will be released on the logical date, June 3rd. Will be the first events, and then June 10th is when you can order the things for yourself. Launch parties do sound fun, by the way. Universe Beyond is the other thing about Warhammer, so this is sort of set, but there will be 4 commander decks that will come out, and they will also come out in a sort of collector version right away, so you can buy that for a premium price, I assume. And then there will be 3 secret lairs coming out about orcs, about the Age of Sigmar, and the Blood Ball. So that's that. Then there was a Planeswalkers guide that came out for New Capenna, where they basically said, well, Capenna used to be a great plane. Then the Phyrexians came. The plane existed of paladins, druids, smiths, and oracles, and nobles, who became the 5 families of New Capenna. The plane was defended by angels, but overtaken by demons. One thing that was new is that there were battles in elevators. I think that's a cool concept to think about. Would have been nice to see something like that. Don't know how they imagine this would happen, but so Capenna was sealed, the elevators closed, and no one could get below the city anymore. Demons could use angel juice to defeat the Phyrexian invasion, and Capenna is now Demon Town, with the 3 circles of Hell, Kaldaya, Metio, and Heights. Then there are the legends. This is the meat of this news episode. So they went through all the legends of New Capenna and told us what they were. So Jaxis is a boxing star. She has never been defeated before. She has been known to defeat 5 assassins at once. And she brings hope to the Caldaya because people know that, well, they can fight up towards the Park Heights. About Park Heights, Falcospera is the demon that lords over that. He's also the first demon to get the 5 demons and the 5 families together. And he's the only one that knows about the Phyrexian War still. The other ones have forgotten about it for some reason. Maybe some ruling that Falco thought about. And of course he's a broker leader, so he sells protection. Cormela is the girl that sort of steals art for her own gallery. She also decides what is cool. So if you want to know what is fashion, you have to look at Cormela and her gallery. She has a small rotating collection, so she just keeps stealing stuff. Then Evelyn also likes art. She's Xander's ex, which we didn't know before, so that is new. And she is kind to the young maestros. Ginny Faye is the guard to Chatmere. She's good with blades, that's what we heard. She doesn't portray this in her card. Here we just see the fact that she likes cats and dogs, and later we will see someone that helps her with that. She's not actually his daughter, but she does become the heir to the Cabaretti. Rafine is the territorial leader of the Obscura, and she does not like living beings, as all Obscura don't really like living beings. Now she has lost her status as an all-knowing seer. Lord Xander is dead. He did love his family, he did love art, but he did not love being a leader, and well, someone capitulated on that. Ciatora rules the Caldaya, so the lowest part of New Capenna. She's the only dragon left on Capenna, is what it says, so that's why we didn't see more of those. And she is the one with her family who built the city. Don't know what that is. Lagrella likes fish. She feeds people to the fishes, and then when apparently, which is something that is unrelated, but people that betrayed her, she makes sculptures of them and puts it in her fish tank. But I assume that they are also killed, or maybe made into stone or something. Rocco chooses the menu of every restaurant on Capenna, so it says, so that's interesting. And he makes really good food, that's what we know about him. Rigo is known to be quoted for looking up is looking forward, meaning that people that look up to someone are, in a sense, well, looking to their future. He's a sim for angels, don't know where that comes from, but he was a street kid, so now he protects them as well. Ognis, the Dragon's Lash, is a Fiaschino that serves the dragon, as Fiaschino are sometimes seen doing, but they can also be rivals to them sometimes. And she oversees the Halo trade for her leader. Jetmir used to lead a group of Leonin druids, so as we have seen before, the Cabaretti have been druids in their previous lives. And they governed life and death, and now he just parties. Parnes, the subtle brush, is someone, well, not so subtle, but she paints people how they wish to be seen instead of how they actually are. And that's why she's a perfect painter for vampires who want to look perfect. Benny Brax is the one that helps Ginny Faye. Well, he cares for her pets, but he also breeds them so that they look perfect in her eyes. He used to keep pigeons and he wanted to make them, well, as beautiful as they could be. And he dreamed of a living world instead of the city, the bleak city that he lived in. Now he deals in creatures for the Cabaretti and he sells them exotic ones. Denry Klein is a writer for a newspaper called Capenna Herald. And he can be paid to change his stories, which makes his paper unique apparently. Bess Soul Nourisher has a cool story actually. She cooks for free so that the poor can eat well too, so that's her goal. She used to work with Rocco, who we saw before, but she had some values, showing us that she lost the red identity and now she just feeds people. She mostly wants people to love her food, which she will do when she feeds the poor. Oscar is a guy that likes trash and rats, and he searches that trash for clues so that he can sell that to the Obscura. Barry the Pulverizer was a boxer as well as the first card that we saw. He does not want to be violent, and when he saw a gateway guard that was heading for an old man, he slammed it with his body to save him, and the broker saw this and they recruited him. Camise is the woman who saw some things that her leader had not, so her leader became jealous. She knows everything happening in the city, and she's known to keep it to facts. She used to be a journalist, so that's where that comes from. And of course, as an Obscura, she did not like people. So she invented a spell to see through walls and climb the ranks of the Obscura, and now all the papers get info from her, so she still is sort of a journalist. Anhello is the new leader of the Maestros. He is an historian and a businessman, and he can be an historian because he is almost as old as Xander. He has been his right hand for centuries. He's also obsessed with art, of course. Kit Kanto likes pigeons too, maybe there's a connection there. And she sings to them. They can also talk back for some reason, sometimes. She kills people that don't clap for her, so when they are not enthusiastic enough, she is known to let the audience do the killing, so she will basically goad them against each other. Hansi is a toolbox because he can steal anything, that's basically it. He's just a good guy, well, at stealing at least. And he is known to have his fiancée give his or her ring back in trade for a new dress that she wanted. Urbrask, we learn that they like factories. Elspeth wants peace, looking for a home. Vivian wants people to respect trees, that's what we learned from that part. And Obnixilis wanted to be a boss, and he collects skin. I didn't know that. Then we have a Q&A with wizards, which I have toned down a bit, because it used to be a little bit negative, but, well, you could do that, but that's not really fun. So the rules stated from wizards, not really quoted per se, it's more paraphrased, but what we learn is that Mark can only use a certain amount of words, so he won't answer questions that take too long in these kinds of articles. Some questions have been asked before, and so he will not answer them, and if he doesn't know the answer, he will not answer them there, because that might be in some ways dishonest, and he can't answer some questions because it might force him to preview some things. We will go through that one of Kamigawa first, because it has some connections to the ones from New Capenna. Why doesn't the modified mechanic include mutated creatures? That's because that would make for far too many words in the mechanic. There are a lot of things already in modified. Was it intentional for the shrine creatures to have no creature type? There was some confusion about this. Well, that was because it didn't fit the frame. So because it had to be a legendary and an enchantment, a creature and a shrine first, a creature type next to that didn't fit. Why do the new Myojin use indestructible instead of divinity counters? That's because divinity counters are a bit too hard to understand. They did basically the same as indestructible. So I have two keywords for that do the same thing, is I guess what I meant. You mentioned adding haste to suspended creatures, which stay out of the battlefield for a bit and then come in, because people wanted to attack after waiting for a few turns. Did you consider that when designing flip sagas that return as a creature? Well, they come in and they don't necessarily always have haste. And the answer to that is that because opponents cannot interact with them in that sense, if that happens. So that's why they didn't do that here. It's a sort of balancing mechanic, I guess. Why was there a Kappa alive 2,000 years after the shell of the last Kappa was preserved? This is a bit of a dirty one still. People on Kamigawa were wrong then, is what they answered. They didn't know about it. This has been known to happen on Earth as well. But I guess as a storyteller you shouldn't really... It's sort of like lying to your readers. So I still wouldn't do that. I think it's dishonest. But dishonesty is not a crime. But actually they were so popular, so that's what the real reason probably is, that we had to include them. So yeah, in the ninja world, Ninja Turtle stuff, I guess they had to do it. Does hype and popularity influence whether a difficult to design set gets designed? The answer was basically yes, it's popular. If it's popular enough, it does influence that. So even if it would be a set that's, well, a bit worse for it, they might still have to choose to design a set, because eventually people will get a little bit mad if their set or their favorite plane does not get returned to. So this was one that Mark answered to, which is why I also want to change this a bit. So the question was, pending the success of Kamigawa, would Wizards of the Coast consider revisiting other planes in a futuristic flavor? I took this as being a question about the flavor. Apparently they took it as the question being, pending the success of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, would Wizards of the Coast consider revisiting other planes' futures? So that's basically what the question meant, instead of what I took it for. So their answer is a bit different too. He says, they were asking if we do futuristic versions of known existing planes, Ravnica for example, but now in the future. That is what I was saying we have no current plan of doing. While Ravnica was set in the future of the previous set, I guess. But yeah, they don't do that. It feels like current sets have both more mechanics and more average words per card than in previous years. And this was something that they said before that the design wouldn't do because it would make the game too complex. The answer was we tried not to, but ended up still doing it. And my note is, I guess that this is because complex cards are sometimes more fun, so they kind of have to do it sometimes. It might be more of a necessity is what I feel from this answer. Question, love the vehicle themes in the set. How did the team decide on focusing it in blue-white over blue-red, given the latter's artifact affinity? So they put it in white instead of red. It's better for draft this way, so flavor mattered less than playability. Sometimes they have to make choices for the set, and sometimes they do it for popularity, is what it says. In my eyes. So Capenna, some questions. Why are there a bunch of angels in the set when they were dead for the entire story? Answer, they were actually statues, which is wrong without being artifacts. They are probably not statues. Or they were away from society, even though all of them are seen in the city on their arts, so that is wrong too in my eyes. People did not know of them was their last argument, but Mr. did agree that this part could have been fleshed out better in the story, which I appreciate a lot. Why is there still no 5-color legendary angel, even though this was a plane that was made by them? We did not want to make a character for that card, or for that person. The 5-color card that we made had a 3-color theme, so that is the major multicolor theme that they want to go for. I think this is a really vague answer, but basically I would take it as they can't really make everything in one set. Did you ever consider bringing back Investigate for a private eye type character? Feels like it would be a great fit for this world. It did not fit the theme well enough is the answer. We want to reserve the Investigate mechanic to darker mysteries. They said like on Innistrad, Investigate is logical because then investigation is more common than in a Mafia world. So they kind of needed to keep those apart. How did the team approach the 3-color identity to make it distinct but yet similar enough from the Shards of Alara? By focusing on the Mafia theme. And I think that's a great answer, because while designing something, limitations will help you make that thing unique, and that will make you more free to design in that space, because you know that you are focusing on that theme. And I think that's a better answer for the previous question too. The introductions of streetlights, industry and cars in New Capenna plus Neon Kamigawa just before have a significantly different qualia of technological advancement than the other stuff. Is modernity now a pendulum in Magic? It was so popular that we made more. I love that about design. I love pushing boundaries is the answer there. There's even more text on cards now, so the same question. We care less about text length now. We now look at the uniqueness of words, which I took as meaning. Words like blitz count as one word while there is a whole mechanic behind them. So you say blitz, but there are a lot of things behind them, or in other words, explanation text doesn't count. Magic should not be more complex. How do you feel about the complexity of magic? Magic is becoming more complex. My note, while this seems to contradict the previous answer, this just means that complexity might be a necessity sometimes. There must be something else. Another reason why they need the cards to become more complex, which is basically they want to design more cards, I think. And it's harder to get a new design space without becoming more complex. Was a raccoon legend considered? So raccoons are new in Magic. His answer was, well, first we might need them in an onset, which we got, then get them into premier sets, which is where we are now. We need to make more of them, which we still need to do, and then you get a legendary, maybe. But keep pushing. Why bring cephalids back if they no longer look like cephalids? Same answer basically, it's fun to push boundaries and change things. Basically, popularity makes them create more humanoid creatures. Plus, creatures can look different on different planes, which is true. But that should be more of a design thing other than... Because more cephalid-like beings would have fit pretty well too, I assume. But that was it. I hope it was short enough, and I wish you a nice day.